What's good, y'all? We are closing in on $1.3 million on Yara number one. Also closing in on 16,000 total books sold, man. I appreciate y'all so much. I just had to start the video off with that because today we're going to be talking markets. Now, Kotaku, there is a power struggle, if you want to call it that, within Kotaku right now. We know the editor-in-chief, I think, is the second editor-in-chief to leave within a year. There were some creative directions that they were not fond of. And of course, there's this hoopla and all sorts of conversations about what's going to happen next for Kotaku. And look, over the last, I don't know how long, Kotaku has been more so known for producing some weird articles, okay? Focusing on things that have little to do with games. That isn't to say that they have not published things that are specifically about games. I don't think anybody is saying that, but Kotaku has become, of course, known for some of those more obscure articles that they've put out, focusing on social aspects and all that. Now, Carolyn Petit is a writer for Kotaku. I don't know if they're trans. Sure, they look like it. So, my apologies. But this is a good time to talk about markets because they made a post about 10 days from the day that I'm shooting this. And this is what they said. Of course, tongue-in-cheek, it's in quotes. We want developers to make or to be free to make the games they want to make. And then they say developer, we want to feature a black protagonist in our game and consulted with this firm, obviously referring to Sweet Baby Inc., to ensure that we were doing a good job of that. No, not like that. She's essentially saying that folks are talking out of both sides of their mouth. I think that she is conflating some different issues. And there is a post by someone that responded, and they said, I don't particularly want devs to make the games that they want to make, actually. I want them to make games I want to play. I am willing to pay money for this. This should be a motivating factor. And then Carolyn says, absolutely hate it when the free market encourages game devs to occasionally make games that humanize people who are different from me. See, again, conflating different issues because that wasn't even stated by the person that she is responding to here, or that initially responded to her. Not at all. But the person does bring up a good aspect, and I think all creatives, doesn't matter if you're developing games, doesn't matter if you're making comic books, something to focus on, because he's technically right. It is a difference to make something that you want versus something that people will actually buy. And from the customer standpoint, it's not necessarily about you. Now, again, I would hope that because the passion is going to show that you are making games or making comic books or making anything within any sort of entertainment industry that you enjoy. But at the end of the day, keep in mind that it is about the customers, right? And unless you're treating it as just like vanity project, where you're not really asking people for money, you're just kind of doing things, that's a separate animal. So he's technically correct in that, yeah, they want you making games that they want to play at the end of the day. All the other stuff they're not going to care about. And to be fair, from the customer's perspective, it's not for them to care about. But here's the thing that Carolyn's doing right now is that they're conflating different issues. I think they're doing it purposefully, trying to gaslight the audience like, hey, well, having that position that you have means that you don't want a black protagonist or you don't want something of that nature, because that's what she was talking about initially. And then, well, she words it in humanizing people who are different from me. That's not the argument. I don't know anybody that's making that argument, but they always pretend that that is the case. And they do that on purpose because they start at a particular place. I don't think these guys are that fond of gamers, okay? They start at a particular place, and that place is they need you to be somebody that you are not, okay? It justifies all the non-arguments that they've been making over the years about gamers and what they expect, what they anticipate, what they will pay money for. And they try to paint several gamers in a bad light, okay? So they're starting from there. Everything else is working backwards because they're trying to justify the positions that they have, okay? I speak from experience. I've created several characters that have become, we got Yara number one that is right now for sale. as I was talking about earlier, we got our Ice Hums, we got our Blood Roofs of the world, several different characters, Alpha Core, that we have created, have their own different sort of fan bases and are building the fandom around them, right? All of different makeups, and there's no real complaint there because they don't care about that. It's not necessarily the focus. The deal with Sweet Baby Inc. and the likes is it's almost shoehorned. It's forced. And it's hyper emphasizing these things that don't actually make the game better. So with my protagonist, let's assume that protagonist is black. Nobody has an issue with you humanizing them to make them relatable. The issue is that you limit them to exactly that, and then you beat everybody over the head and let them know why you have put them necessarily in the position as being the protagonist, when it should be the least interesting thing about that character. Period. That's not how the other guys operate. Sweet Baby Inc., it's a kiss of death right now. People are going to feel some kind of way if they are consulting on anything. But do not gaslight gamers and make it seem as if they are taking some sort of exception to there being a black protagonist, or let's say a protagonist is being humanized that has a different skin tone than myself or another gamer. That has nothing to do with anything. And they, deep down, you think they know that. But it's not necessarily a convenient argument to make. So they need you to be a boogeyman. They will create that boogeyman, and then they start working backwards. I think games suffer this, definitely with this massive growth over the last decade. You have these mega corporations that are making these games, and the people that are actually creating them don't even understand markets, and they're so disconnected. They get their money either way. The contractors that are working on various projects, however it may be, but the skin in the game is a lot different from someone that's forking over money like you see with the independent studios. Maybe they do have some people that are investing in it, but it's a lot closer to home. You don't really get that with the mega corporations. It's so far of a disconnect, and their impact, as major as it may be, they don't necessarily have skin in the game, and they're not the ones putting forth the bread to make this happen. So they don't care. They have their mind and ideas that they have, and they want to implement those. Damn be the the customers or the people that are going to be the ones that you're targeting here as a business if you are putting something out that is supposed to entertain folks. So they just do everything willy-nilly. This is why I think decentralization is so important, even for making a better entertainment, because at least the people that are part of it will have skin in the game. It's not necessarily what you get at the mega corporations. But Carolyn, please quit gaslighting gamers.